Hey, what's going on, peeps? I want to talk about objections. Yep, I want to talk about objections today. In the spirit of my last few rants about how frustrated I am with our sales culture and how it needs to change and how bad our sales culture is today, objections fit right into that. Here's the deal. Sales objections are the quintessential sign that you sold it wrong. Let that sink in for a second. Literally, if you're getting objections, that means you have sold it wrong. It means you got ahead of your buyer. It means that you don't understand what you're selling to them. And the buyer is saying, well, hey, you don't have this feature. Or will you have this feature in the future? We need that feature. Or you're too expensive. Or your competition has this and you don't. Or whatever the objection is, it's your buyer saying they don't see how you can help them with what you recommended. That's literally what they're saying. So it means you recommended or you made a proposal or you're pitching something to them that they don't clearly see how it's to their benefit. And if you ever get to the pitching stage, proposal stage, what we call the recommendation stage, if you ever get there and you don't fully understand why they should buy your product and service and why it is absolutely the best thing for them, you sold it wrong. That's the bottom line. And that's what objections do. When I sit down with salespeople and I'm watching them and I'm listening to them and they tell me, oh, the customer has an objection on this, or the customer is concerned about this, or the customer asked about that, and they're not sure they want to buy because we don't have, or we're not able to do, or whatever, my first thing is, well, how did you see that coming? How did we get here? How did we get here? Because if you properly diagnose a problem, you should never be recommending something that doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, you don't recommend it, there are no objections. Now here's the cool part. If it does fit and you make the proper recommendation, there should be no objections because you walk them through it. And the rare times there are, you can simply spin it back and say, hey, I'm confused. I don't understand. You said this is what's going on today. This is where you want to get. These are the problems. Why is this an issue? And the customer's like, good point. Not a big deal. Gone. Poof. Objections are because you're not selling properly. You're getting ahead of the buyer. You are quickly running to the pitch, to the demo, to the proposal, and you're not properly diagnosing the problems they're struggling with, the impacts they're having on them. And watch what I do here. Hold on. The root causes. Why are those problems happening in the first place? And when you don't do that, you get ahead of the buyer, and the way the buyer responds is with objections. I think it's funny that for 50, 60 years, sales trainers and methodologies and gurus and books and all this all talk about overcoming objections. How about stopping them in the first place? They're literally talking about how to overcome objections as they've taught you how to sell. They taught you how to sell properly. Overcoming objections should not be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't be getting objections. Or so few that learning to overcome them is not a thing. It's not something you should be practicing. Let's stop the objections from coming in the first place. Let's take the time to do it right. Let's learn to properly diagnose. Let's learn to properly understand what's happening in the buyer's environment. Let's learn to properly understand what the root causes is, what's causing those business problems. And then, and only then, let's start talking about us. Because listen, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Our job is to help. It is not to sell. And if you don't understand the problems, impacts, and root causes, you cannot help. And if you're not helping, you're selling. And if you're selling, you're going to create the environment that gives you the objections. All right? So it is, Pete. If you're getting objections, sales managers, sales leaders, if your team's getting objections, there's your sign right there. They're doing something wrong. They're getting ahead of the buyer. You don't have a good sales process. You don't have a good sales environment. Let's cut it out. It's time to change the way we sell. The world needs it. All right, people. Until next time. Peace. I'm out.